Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen of the Lunch Table Crew. It's me, Ben, and my co-host Alan.
Hello,
How you doing,
Ben.
Alan? And we had a weekend. It was, I mean, we had a good Sunday and a good Monday and maybe even a better Tuesday. But I guess there was a lot of football going on this past weekend with no more undefeated teams in the league.
Mhm. Love
Giants
to
came
see
up
it.
big. Yeah, Giants came up big against Seahawks, and Baker Mayfield having a huge day against the Tennessee Titans. So we're gonna jump right into this. This is being filmed on a Tuesday, so we're gonna go back into Monday's game, which was probably the biggest game I would say of the week, where the Washington football team beat the Pittsburgh Steelers. And Alan, start us off, man. What'd you think? What'd you think?
Wow. Either the Steelers must have the worst running offense ever, or Washington's defense prevented the Steelers from running at
Mhm.
all. Like they did not get a single yard. They had to Ron Payne, all the defensive linemen stop them before they could. I think it was 14 carries for 21 yards. That is an
Yeah.
abysmal running night.
Yeah.
Yeah, the offense for both sides was not great. Like the offense was okay. But
Mm-hmm.
like the defense for Washington, I think really showed how much of a top 5 defense they are in last night's win.
Yeah, I was watching that game and our defense definitely came up huge. I mean, Montez Sweat, who is basically just a NBA center, how many balls he smacks down every single game. Just by I think in total our defense had 3 balls that got smacked down, which since that game Ben Roethlisberger has had 0, which is huge.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, to credit though to Ben Roethlisberger, his wide receivers and tight end and whatnot, they just dropped every single ball almost. I mean,
Yeah,
I
it
think
was.
they had like 8 drops or something like that. So that was something else. And our both defenses I think played a heck of a game.
Mm-hmm.
I think we are a little disadvantaged on the offensive side, especially once Antonio Gibson went out
Mm-hmm.
with what looked like a foot injury.
I think it was
Um,
toe.
yeah, so that sucked. And Alex Smith, man's a I mean, he was bleeding from his foot one play after getting
That
cleated,
was not
and
good looking.
then yeah, thankfully it wasn't the leg that was injured, so that was good. But yeah, I mean, where it was probably the best game I think I've ever watched Washington since since like the beginning of
I think it's probably got to
since
be one of our
Alex Smith
best
went down. I
wins.
think we also do have to give. I mean, yeah, I think well, the Thanksgiving game against Cowboys was probably the best one, and then we came off
Mm-hmm.
then and won this game. But you
Yeah.
do got to give the Steelers credit for playing 3 games in 12 days. That's 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 crazy. Alan, I know something on our little topics plan. You got a thing called Ron's plan. You want to
Yes. So
talk about
basically,
that?
when Ron Rivera came to the team at the end of last year, everyone in literally the entire NFL knew how bad down the Washington entire team was.
Mm-hmm.
And what we've noticed this year has been a huge difference with Ron. This team has yet to quit on a game, which cannot tell you how many times that happened under Jay Gruden. Ron's team has never quit. Even they might have lost by a lot, but it wasn't like quitting. That we were always in the game, even if we weren't within like winning distance. We never quit, and it shows a lot to be down. What was it, 14-3 at half, and to come back and
Mm-hmm.
beat the undefeated team. I think that
Yeah,
just speaks to how good of a coach Ron is and how united the players are underneath him.
yeah, I totally agree with you. Yeah, he brings a different mindset than or that our team needed, especially going through what we were going. So we're gonna go to our next topic, where we're gonna go to Tennessee, where the Browns went up against one of his best games this season, as well as the
Sorry, can you say that again? I missed that last part.
Cleveland Browns, how they played against the Tennessee Titans.
Wow, that first half was, I want to say it was like 38-7 or something. The first half.
Yeah.
Baker Mayfield, some of his throws were open for touchdowns, but Baker Mayfield had played really well against the Titans. I was able to catch some of the game. Wow, like I would say it's impressive the Titans came back, but it's almost like the Browns didn't try in the second half. They were like, okay, run the clock out, have no yard gain, no yard gain, no yard gain, punt. They would just run the ball for 3 straight downs and punt. So I want to say it's impressive that the Titans came back, but I'm like, they were trying to chew at the clock the entire time. It wasn't, for me, I felt like Titans comeback wasn't anything substantial. Like they scored with like 30 seconds left. I'm like, they were playing prevent defense the whole time. They weren't playing actual defense. So I feel like it was a bigger win than what the score might show.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. I mean, that looking at the stat sheet from the first 2 quarters, Cleveland obviously had the upper side. The first quarter scoring 10 points, second quarter scoring 28 points, and then Tennessee scoring 7. But going back to what you said, like second half, they only scored 3 points, and Tennessee both had 2 touchdowns. So I mean, it definitely, I think the Cleveland Browns might have gotten a little too comfortable in the second half. But yeah, I mean, Nick Chubb, 18 carries for 80 yards, had a touchdown. Baker Mayfield going for 334 yards and 4 TDs and no interceptions. I mean, that was a very good game. And I guess I'm going to leave up with another question, Alan. Do you think that the Browns now could be somewhat of a threat in the playoffs?
So I think it's still a chance. The Browns are 9-3 now. I think the Browns still could, depending on how the Steelers finish the season, I think there is a possibility now the Steelers aren't the first seed in their division, which would be insane to think like a week ago. But I don't think the Steelers are going to lose too many more of the games. I think they're going to right ship. So I think the Browns definitely makes the playoffs. But if Baker plays how he plays on Sunday against the Titans, I see them at least making to the championship round. I haven't looked at any of the seeding and stuff, so I don't know who their matchups would be, but the Browns have to be one of the most talented rosters in the NFL. So
yeah, I agree with you. And looking at the playoff spots now, I mean, with the Steelers' loss, they're tied with the Chiefs, and I think the Chiefs personally, for me, have I think they're more of a stronger team that could lock up that playoff spot to get that playoff berth and first round bye, which would be huge for them. And that would be huge.
Yeah.
Alrighty, moving on to our next topic. We got the Giants versus the Seahawks, and this was the second game, or the first game, I guess, this weekend, where an NFC East team decided to go crazy on a really, really good team. And the Giants ended up beating the Seahawks. I believe it was 17-14, I want to say.
It was 17-12, but I could be wrong on that.
But I mean, props to Colt McCoy, leading the Giants offense down the field, and the Giants defense came up big, especially in the fourth quarter when they didn't have linebacker Blake Martinez, who is one of the best tacklers in the NFL. And I guess, Alan, NFC East is looking kind of they're starting to crawl up. They're starting to,
Yeah. The Giants and the Washington football team have are second and third and longest win streaks in the NFL right now, with only the Saints remaining at 1. They have 9 wins straight, I believe. Yes. So yeah, I think the Giants and Washington. Well, I'll focus on the Giants. The Giants, their new coach seems to be something different, right? There's almost the Giants defense, first of all, did a great job of shutting down, or at least giving problems for Russell Wilson, because the Seahawks have been shown if Russell Wilson can't play at an MVP level, their entire team is almost nothing. Like their defense is not good enough to really help them at all. So it's like they rely on Russell Wilson being a top 4 quarterback.
Yeah.
And if he plays anything less than that, then they just don't do well. So props to the Giants for their defense. They have a really good defense.
Yeah. I completely agree with you. I mean, I'm looking at how their past games, like they started off 0-5, 0-5, and then they beat us, and then they lost to the Eagles, and then they lost to the Buccaneers. But ever since that loss to the Buccaneers, they're on a 4-game win streak.
Yes.
So that's and it is big because they've swept Washington. So
that's high breaker.
Yeah. So it's huge, but I believe we have one more game against the Eagles, I want to say.
It's week 17.
Yeah, so I think that game's probably going to be the most important game. I mean, the Giants do have a pretty hard schedule coming up, especially their next 3 games, Cardinals, Browns, and Ravens. Then they end their season off with the Cowboys. So hopefully the Washington football team can keep their momentum going and end up, going to the playoffs, which would be huge because I don't think any of us expected that to even be in the hindsight of, the view and what could happen to our team. I'm going to throw in one more. Question, Alan, do you think Russell Wilson you think he might, or how do I phrase this? Do you think that he might, what do you think is wrong with the Seahawks? I guess I should say. Do you think it's on Russell Wilson's fault? Do you think it's on the offense? Do you think it's on defensive fault? What is your opinion on it?
Last couple of years, I feel like the Seahawks have never hit on any of their first-round picks. Their first-round picks always seem to be questionable because I always seem to pick the guy everyone else had like mid-second-round grades on. I'm like, why are you reaching for these people who no one was really going to go after them? So I think missing on the first-round picks don't help.
Yeah.
But I think it's just the defense isn't there. And probably the offensive line is there because the offensive line is huge for the run game. And I haven't really heard from Rashad Penny, I think, was their first-round running back a couple of years ago. I haven't heard from him in a while.
Yeah.
But yeah, sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, no, I was just going to say this past year, their first overall pick was a linebacker by the name of Jordan Brooks out of Texas Tech. Second-round pick was an edge rusher, Darrell Taylor, and then they have a guard, Damian Lewis. And
he's playing good, though. And
then a tight end. Yeah, Damian Lewis is, but like, I mean, I haven't heard anything about defense. They probably haven't hit. I don't think they've hit that lottery pick, and I do not believe they have a first-round pick this coming up draft because of the Jamal Adams trade.
I believe it's like
so.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's really gonna hurt them. I feel, especially in a pretty good draft class. I'd say.
Well, I'd also say for the Seahawks, if you're not good at drafting in the first round anyway, maybe the trade for Jamal Adams is better for your team. Like if you can't hit on first round picks anyway, just rely on developing the mid round talent. That might be better use of your first round pick to get Jamal Adams.
I mean, yeah, DK Metcalf's a great example of that. I mean, he was a second round pick, and I mean, he's definitely became one of the best wide receivers in the National Football League, which is huge. For our next topic, we're going to be talking about the Jets almost coming away with a win against the Raiders, but they didn't.
Wow, like
go ahead, Alan.
So Henry Ruggs ran a 4.27 at the NFL Combine, and he's left 1-on-1 for the last play of the game against Lamar Jackson, the cornerback, who ran like a 4.5 something, and then they blitzed. What was it? 8 people on what? I know the Jets defense coordinator was never good, and this is what he always does. But how? I mean, this is why he was fired the next day. But
right,
that is questionable play calling. I don't think anyone has ever called that a zero blitz with what 10 seconds. I don't know how much time was left, but like the last play of the game, and then you leave. Like if it would have made more sense if you at least put a safety back on Henry Ruggs, right? Got the fast guy, prevent him from just running over the top. Nope.
Right.
Trevor, Jets fans were probably happy that they lost though.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. I mean, it was a very questionable call, but the Jets offense also came up big in the fourth quarter, scoring 15 points. I mean, but you gotta give credit to at least the Raiders offense. I mean, Derek Carr had a hell of a game, 381 yards, 3 touchdowns, a pick. Darren Waller came up huge, their tight end, 200 yards and 2 touchdowns.
On
Like
fantasy,
that.
I saw someone had like 45 points from him.
Yeah, that was it was definitely crazy. But I guess Jets fans are somewhat happy because now they have the first round pick still, so or
The
first overall pick. I saw a video that Barstool posted. It was like Jets fans celebrating that the Raiders won, so they could have the
Yeah.
first pick. I was like, oh, wow, you guys must be very desperate. And I mean, the other New York team, Giants, they're looking pretty good. So it's yeah, I mean, Raiders, congratulations on being the 0-12 team.
Yeah,
And,
you guys should have beat them by a lot more. Like that
Yeah.
should have not have been a last second play. But apparently the Raiders can only do really, really, really well against the Chiefs and just basically average about against everyone else. So moving on, we're gonna go to the Patriots pummeled the Chargers to a 45-0 win. Wow.
just wow. Just you know, I think well, Bill Belichick's got it, I guess. I mean, he knows what he needs to do, and I guess you could say Cam Newton's got his swagger back. I mean, what happened, Chargers? Like Justin Herbert, what happened?
Special
Keenan,
teams was awful. I know, like the Patriots scored like 3 special teams touchdowns, right?
right?
There was like a blocked punt.
Keenan Allen, what happened? But
Like that just surprises me. Justin Herbert has been so good all year. Doesn't even put up a single, like doesn't even get them in field goal range apparently. Like how does that?
yeah,
I know Belichick's great and all. Like this shouldn't be surprising how well Belichick's teams are doing, but wow,
yeah,
that kind of dominance.
Cam Newton didn't even like really do anything in passing. He put up 69 yards.
Wow.
1 touchdown. And he ran for 48 yards. So really, I mean, you're right. It was pretty much just a special teams day, I guess.
Had to have been.
There's.
Let me look at the stats.
Yeah, I guess. I mean,
I know.
Patriots
Sorry,
are like. I mean, my question is, what happened? Like, the Anthony isn't Anthony Lynn, I think, or is their coach for the Chargers? He like I'm just part of me's kind of confused because like what went wrong? Like I'm looking back at the past games, like
this confuses
he
me.
must have, I guess, for part of it.
He had 2 throws for 61 yards.
They beat the Bengals. They barely lost to the Chiefs. They barely lost to the Panthers. They barely lost to the Buccaneers. They barely lost to the Saints. They won against the Jaguars. They barely lost to the Broncos. Barely lost to the Raiders. Barely lost to the Bills. And then they just all their games that they lost were either 10, from 3 or 1 to 10 points. And then they go against the Patriots and then just get, like you said, pummeled. It was just maybe a switch just went off, but I mean, it was just kind of, it's like, what went wrong, I guess.
Patriots in anywhere near, it would, I think Belichick needs to win Coach of the Year if the Patriots get a chance. Oh, no, I don't think they are.
No, I think who should win Coach of the Year is definitely the Dolphins coach.
Like I kind of think Andy Reid could also get it, but I think the Dolphins like make a lot of sense. Or the Bills head coach.
Yeah. You could really throw it up for like a whole bunch. I mean, you could say Mike Tomlin if the Steelers probably won. I
I mean,
mean,
I
you
would
could.
also argue they just didn't really have that tough of a schedule, to be honest.
True, true. I
Or
mean,
LaFleur with the Packers.
or you could say the Giants head coach. I mean, look where the Giants were. Hell, if you really want to put, you could say Ron Rivera. If we somehow make the playoffs, I
I would
think.
vote for him, but I'm a little bit biased.
Well, yeah. I mean, every fan base is gonna be biased about their coach if they make the playoffs, especially from not making the playoffs in the first place. You could say the Saints coach if you really wanted to. I mean,
He's a really good
it's
coach,
up
to be
there
honest.
for who Ron Rivera, Sean Payton.
Sean Payton, like to people in like the last 2 seasons when you're starting quarterbacks out to like go, I think it was like 8-0.
Mm-hmm.
Either speaks a lot to how good Sean Payton or how bad Drew Brees has become.
Well, I think Drew Brees needs to retire. I think. Look, man.
Yeah.
I think personally, I just think his time's coming up. For football or just becoming an announcer like Tony Romo or something like that. I
Romo is
think that's
dreadful to listen to. I never understood why people liked him. Like he's always been annoying forever.
Hey, all right. Let's steer back into the football, and I guess maybe we've already answered this, but do the Chargers need to move on with Anthony Lynn?
I don't know, because unless you can find a better candidate, I don't find a reason to move on. Right? Because he's not just so bad that you need he's not the Jets where you just need to get everyone out of the building.
Right.
The Chargers defense can play better, I think, if they get Derwin back, if he's ever healthy enough for a season.
Mm-hmm.
But like the Chargers, I don't know what happened to their offense. Their offense just seems to not do well. We also got to remember the Patriots are always just really good against rookie quarterbacks. Like Belichick's always just been good at that.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't move on right now.
I mean, mm-hmm. I agree with you. I mean, obviously we saw what they could do against teams like the Chiefs, like the Buccaneers, like the Saints, like the Raiders, like the Dolphins, like the Bills. I mean, we see what they can do. I think it might just been like a little bit of a hiccup game. I agree with you. But yeah, I don't think they're in like a Gase situation where my opinion by the end of the season they're just gonna start firing people, fire his coaching staff left and right. I think it's a smart thing to do. It's also probably the logical thing to do. I mean, he obviously going 0-12 isn't ideal in a season.
Yeah.
So you definitely want him to get out. And yeah, I mean, it was a hiccup. They'll get back and they play the Falcons next. So hopefully they will come back and they'll be
one
home.
of two ways.
Yeah. So yeah, it's been a weird 2020 week, I guess you could say, for football.
Yeah,
And I guess sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say 2020 has, I think, completely shattered the norms for how we expect football to be played.
Mm-hmm.
Which just might be because we all missed football for a while and we didn't realize how it was, but like everything is not going how we would expect.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think also with, this being the COVID season and whatnot, I think some people were like, oh, cool, football's back. And then teams starting getting an outbreak like the Ravens, Steelers, Titans, all those. And it sucks for, fans and probably players, especially because, like, going back to the Steelers, I mean, look how their season, I mean, they played 3 games in 12 days. Like, normally you get a week to prepare. They got probably an average of 3 to 5 days?
There's like 4 probably an average of 4, and you probably can't even meet after the first 2 days
Yes.
anyway. So
2020 in a nutshell. All right. Well, when I wrote down this topic or this question to you, Alan, are the Giants now officially winners for the East? I'm not going to lie, I was expecting a blowout against us. I was expecting to sit down on my couch and cry myself away, but
no faith.
turns out the Washington football team had other plans. So I guess, is it the Washington football team, the Giants? Which one of those two are you going to call winners of the East?
All right, so if we want to look at the Giants' schedule, I think the Giants have a schedule that is a little bit harder to win. The Cardinals, Browns, Ravens are all, I don't know about the Ravens at this point, but the next 2 teams they're playing are playoff teams, which you can say about the Seahawks. I think the Cardinals and Browns are built better, that they don't need their quarterback to be playing at like all pro level to win. So I don't think if you just slow down the quarterback, that will happen.
Right.
I think the Ravens will beat the Giants, and I think the Giants will probably beat the Cowboys. So I think it should come down to whichever team wins 3 or 2 more games. I think Washington personally, which again, biased, but I think Washington can take the 49ers, Seahawks, Panthers, and Eagles. I think Washington can win out.
Yeah.
I don't know if that will happen, but
yeah, I agree with you. I mean, it seems like on paper we should win against the 49ers, Eagles, and Panthers. I think our biggest challenge is probably going to be the Seahawks and Panthers. Only because I guess for the Eagles, I mean, they don't really have a quarterback yet, or they don't have let me rephrase this. They don't know who their quarterback is going to be.
Yeah.
I think they should start Jalen Hurts from a bias. I mean, just by watching him, how he played.
Yeah, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, he played really well. I think Carson Wentz needs to take a deep breath, sit down for a second, let Jalen Hurts do his thing, help him out as he needs to go along with that. I do think that the Panthers are a winnable game, and I obviously think the Eagles are a winnable game. So I'm gonna go with Washington, obviously at a non-biased standpoint. But yeah, I think Washington has an easier schedule than the Giants do. But hey, man, Giants, prove us wrong. Prove us wrong. I am happy with the Washington football team, whether we make the playoffs or not, personally.
Yeah, huge growth.
I think this is a good stepping stone, and we have some cap space, so we can get some help in the back end and linebackers, which is desperately needed for us. Maybe not linebackers, for cornerbacks.
Linebacker. Yeah, I don't really like how much. I know Alex Smith is being paid a little, not as much compared to other quarterbacks, but it's just also he kind of sat there for like 3 years. No, it was not 3 years. It was 2. And he had to go through his recovery process. So just purely business, he was taking up cap space for not being able to even see the field. Yeah. It's good now that he's back on the field. Excellent deal, but he's taking up the space.
Well, I guess here's my question for you then. Yes, he took up so much cap space, but in one aspect, he couldn't really do anything. Like, what, you're gonna put out a player that can just gonna be sitting on a wheelchair? It was a sticky situation that we were in.
Better situation than our quarterbacks at that time.
Right. And then I think with Haskins, I feel bad for him because he was thrown into a spot that no rookie quarterback should ever be in through, an unstable organization. I personally don't think we really wanted Dwayne Haskins in the first place. I'm still holding on to what reports, I believe, back when the draft was, I think Stephen A. Smith got, where we were actually going to draft Daniel Jones, and the Giants got
I wouldn't have watched him either.
Okay, looking at that draft class around our pick,
right, let's look.
Which starting quarterback was still around? Drew Lock, who hasn't been
Bad.
having that good of a season, and Daniel Jones, Dwayne Haskins. Daniel Jones is injured. He's probably been the most productive quarterback in that draft. And Dwayne Haskins, well, he hasn't. I mean, he started the season, but he hasn't really done anything else. He would last to a 1-3 record, 1-2 record.
Well, say there was like no other quarterback that was comparable at the draft spot, and we needed to go to quarterback there. So we could still see
Right.
we could have any of these quarterbacks blow up in future years. It just doesn't look like it now.
No, I mean, I still think what we should do for this coming up draft is draft linebacker, line, or cornerback. Draft one in the first round. We have 2 third-round picks and a second round, and a 5th and a 7th, I think.
I think it's 2 sevenths.
2 7th. All right, waste one of those picks on a quarterback. Not the 7th pick, maybe like that. Because for some reason, third-round picks for Washington have become very good players. Antonio Gibson, Terry McLaurin. And yeah, I still think that I think we should do that. So that is all for the podcast today. It was a crazy week. And yeah, we'll catch you guys next week. Peace.
Adios.